my gorgeous plant people, welcome back to Reading Mindfully. My name is Yana, and today we are talking about my favorite plants for September, so let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So like I said, today we are talking about my favorite plants for September, and I am just so excited. You guys will have to pardon me for it being a minute. I know it's been a hot minute, but I just started a new job, a new schedule, and I am trying to get my bearings here. But like I said, we're going to talk about my favorite plants for September, and I picked a couple different ones. So the first plant that I want to talk about today is my Stromanthe trio star. Now, I never thought that this would be one of my favorite plants, but honestly, I look at this plant every day. I love the beautiful colors on this plant. I do have a lot of green plants in my home, so when I'm able to add some color to my home, some pinks, some fuchsias, some eggplants, it really adds some dimension to my plant collection. Everything's just not so green. But this has been a really nice plant to have. It is part of the prairie plant family, and a lot of people struggle with this plant because of the crisping. I did get a little bit of crisping when I first got this plant, but I think it's just because I left water on the leaves. As you can see here, I don't miss any of my prairie plants. They tend to not, at least in my collection, not like water sitting on the leaves. If I do have water on the leaves, sometimes I do get a little bit of hard water, but this plant has been a trooper. If you watch my prairie plant care or collection, you know I don't let these plants dry out. I do like to keep them moist. I still do use tap water, and it doesn't seem to really hate it. It is such a beautiful plant. And I just love this like fuchsia undersides. And my favorite part is when this plant closes up for the night and I just see so much of the fuchsia. It's so pretty, especially against the woods. I do have this sitting on my coffee table, so I love seeing the fuchsia against the wood. I just feel like it's a really beautiful combination. I think I will have to repot this one soon, because I am starting to see some roots coming in the bottom, and I'm having to water it quite a bit. It is putting out new shoots at the bottom of the pot, if you can see that. So it is a pretty fast grower. I'm usually getting 3 leaves on this plant at one time, and so I would say that's a pretty fast grower. And it just has the most beautiful variegation. I love plants that have this like watercolor painted on kind of look to them. Those are some of my favorite leaves in my collection. And yeah, like I said, it's been such a nice plant. It's grown in different lighting conditions. I've had it far from the window, and I've also had it under my grow light, and it's really like that as well. So it has been a versatile plant. And yeah, that is my Stromanthe trio star. The next plant, you guys will not be shocked, but of course I had to put on here my chocolate aglaonema. I did just get this plant last month, and every time I get a chocolate aglaonema, I just don't even have words for it. But it's just such a gorgeous plant. If you can see the beautiful markings on there, the veining is pink on most of the leaves. Some of them have like a more of a yellowy beige veining, but then the backing is what is beautiful. It has that dark chocolate, some of that cherry red chocolate, and it is just such a gorgeous plant. I think mine is actually starting to bloom. If I can show you, probably not. It's got a bloom coming in there, and I do have some other leaves coming in here. And so this plant also needs to be repotted. It is so light, and so I do need to get this in a new pot, and it needs a lot of soil. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely needs a new pot. So I will be working on that soon, because you guys know this is like my umpteenth try of this plant, and I really want it to work out for me. It has been putting on a ton of leaves, so that's great. I have been keeping this away from my vents because aglaonemas do not like air blowing on their leaves, so I do keep it away from the vents. I keep it away from my windows. I have been having it under a grow light, which is why I think it's been putting out more leaves than normal, and it's putting out a bloom, so it is very happy. And I think once I repot it, it'll be even happier. But yeah, it's just such a beautiful plant, and the leaves are just coming out so shiny. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, my chocolate aglaonema. The third plant that I am choosing for this month is my silver band maranta. This is just such a gorgeous plant. I really am enjoying this maranta. I really like marantas in general because they tend to be a little bit easier than of all the prayer plants. But I did have a little bit of a bump with this plant because if you saw my transition update, I was saying how it was like throwing off these tiny little leaves. Like, what in the actual? I mean, they're cute and everything, but like I said in my transition video, this plant is too expensive to be throwing out tiny leaves. So I was like, it needs to get its act together. So what I did was I put it a little bit, it was probably like 6 feet away from my sandy light, and then it started throwing out nice size leaves. And I did get a couple here. There's one, and I have some shoots coming in here. There we go. And so it is responding really well to my sandy light, as most of my plants do. Here's another shoot there. And so I'm hopeful that this plant will send out some nice size leaves. Like I said, it's too expensive to be, just shooting out these little tiny leaves. Like, you had to get it together. But I'm wanting these nice size leaves, so we'll keep working on this plant. But it has been a joy so far, and I just really love the markings on this plant. The band here, the silver, and the little whiskers that I talked about in my animal prints video is such a gorgeous plant. And somehow I'm going to get this to grow in a round shape, but we'll be working on that too. It doesn't seem to want to grow that way, but we will get it to grow that way. But yeah, that's my silver band maranta. The next plant might come as a shocker because I rarely talk about my anthuriums being my favorite because I've struggled with the anthuriums. But this is my Anthurium metallicum, and I've been doing a lot better with my anthuriums actually. This is these are the leaves that I got on the plant because I imported this from Ecuador, and it came with these little like damaged leaves, and then it had grown this really beautiful leaf outside, and then the wind just like shoot, like cut it in half, and I was like, oh. But I was like, it's okay, I'm not gonna get upset. And then it threw out this leaf here, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then it's working on this one, and of course it hasn't hardened off yet, so I'm hoping it's going to get bigger. I'm hoping it's going to stay, damage free. But with anthuriums, when they're hardening off, anthuriums are the easiest plants to get damaged coming out and forming. They start off so cute and little, and then they get nice and huge, but you really don't want to touch them while they're in the hardening off process, because any little touch, even like the oils on your fingers, excuse me, sir. Any little, like even the oils on your fingers can cause bacteria and things like that, water on the leaves. So I try not to touch my anthuriums as much as possible, especially when they're throwing out new leaves. And so yeah, this is what the Anthurium metallicum looks like. And this is restoring my faith and my ability back in anthuriums. Because for so long I was like, you know, anthuriums, me and anthuriums don't get along. But some of mine are actually, you know, coming together. I think I only have like 2 that I'm really like, you know, not having good luck with. But that one's doing pretty well. And then the last plant that I want to talk about is also a surprise, because I was just talking about how this plant wasn't doing well for me either. But this is my Philodendron melanocrysum, and you can see how the older leaves are looking busted, and that's because I didn't really have the care down for my melanocrysum. I also did have it outside, but you can see how the older leaves don't really look that great. And then it threw out this beautiful leaf. Look at that. Look at that veining. So beautiful. But this has been doing so well. It's throwing out a leaf here that is also looking pretty good. And I have some new growths coming in the middle, as well as there's a leaf coming on this other newer leaf here. But the key that I noticed with my melanocrysum is that you have to keep them on the moist side, and that's what I've been doing differently. I just put it in my window and let it do its thing. I don't touch it until it's time to water it, but I have it sitting in my northeast window, and all I do is just I keep it moist. I treat it on, I have it on the same level as my peace lilies, on the same level as my calathea and prayer plants, and something else. But I have it on the same level of just like keeping it moist, and I've noticed that it's been doing so much better. These plants do not like to dry out, and I've noticed the same thing with my Philodendron verrucosum, and that one's even looking a lot better. So we've been coming to an understanding with these plants here that they do not like to dry out, and it's been showing me that it's really been enjoying the attention that it's getting. But yeah, that's my Philodendron melanocrysum, and like I said, there's a new leaf on that side. So with these plants, I know that a lot of people focus on humidity, but you also want to focus on your moisture as well. So yeah, those are all of the plants that are my favorite for September. Of course I have more, but you know, if I make the list go on and on, that would just be like all my plants. But yeah, so those are my favorites for September. I also did get a couple new plants, which I will show you in the next video, so stay tuned. But as always, leave in the comments down below what your favorite plants are for this month. If you guys have any, or if you have any in my collection, let me know. But as always, I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, liking and subscribing, watching all my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.